Hi, thanks for joining us for this new episode of Conversations from the Lab, where we cut through marketing and communications noise and help small and mid sized businesses achieve clarity and gain traction, ultimately to generate more revenue. So, stay tuned. When it comes to email marketing, many companies and organizations remain frustrated about the results of their efforts. There are some companies that leverage email marketing very well because they incorporate certain principles that allow their communications to resonate with their audience and ultimately accomplish their end goal: ensure engagement. Now, that engagement may be sales for a commercial enterprise, it may be donations from a nonprofit, or it may be viewership if you're a streaming service like Netflix or Apple TV. Email marketing is just as relevant today as it was 10 or 15 years ago. And I would argue it's even more relevant today. Yes, people have their inboxes inundated with spam and scams. And it's true that many people simply do a major purge of their inbox while trying to keep what they receive at a manageable level. Honestly, there's a lot of junk out there, but that doesn't mean your emails have to be among them. Let's walk through the things you can do to help ensure your emails are the ones your target audience will actually read. First, let's touch on how you're building your email list. Some companies, often those that are just starting out, buy contacts from a list broker. These brokers, like D&B Hoovers or Zoom Info, provide consumer and B2B lists, everything from names and addresses of suburban moms to corporate managers and executives, including their role and email address. These list providers can be useful under certain circumstances, but there are some drawbacks. First, to get very detailed contact information ain't cheap. If you want high quality verified lists with detailed contact information, that can run you anywhere from $2 to $5 per contact. The second drawback is that if you buy a list, you can't use it in email tools like MailChimp, Constant Contact, or HubSpot. The reason is that those platforms only allow you to email audiences that have opted in. In other words, they have to have voluntarily given you their contact details. This is a result of the CAN-SPAM Act of 2003, a provision that says you must get permission from an individual before you begin emailing them. Now, do companies email you even if they have not received your permission? Of course they do. But what you have to look out for is that your domain can be blackballed if too many of your audience members feel they are being spammed, which means in the end, you won't be able to send emails to anybody. Now, one quick caveat is that you can send email messages and campaigns to a purchased audience without getting in trouble. But the way you must do it is through a third party, like D&B Hoovers, where they will send email campaigns to your audience on your behalf. And another platform that I've used, and yes, I have purchased lists before, is a tool called Clickback. Like D&B Hoovers, they allow you to send messages to purchased lists and they have some pretty decent reporting tools. But keep in mind that you are not able to send them from your domain, but rather through a domain Clickback uses. It protects your domain because of the CAN-SPAM Act and limits your ability to engage with that audience the way you might if they originally opted in. The best way to develop a list or database of prospects is to do it organically. This is a list of individuals that have opted in to whatever you offered, such as a lead magnet like a free ebook, webinar, software trial, or something similar. It is much slower than buying a list, but in the long term, results are undeniable. You can buy a list of 1,000 contacts for about $5,000, but you'll be limited in how you can engage with them. And in addition to paying for the list, you'll have to pay for each individual email campaign when using a third-party solution like D&B Hoovers or Clickback. When you build your list organically, that list is yours forever, or at least until they unsubscribe. Now, once you have your list, let's talk about how to properly use it. First, your message. Make sure that your message is of value to your audience. If your topic or messaging is always about how wonderful your company is and how everybody should buy from you, that won't get you very far. The introduction to your message is your subject line, that 5 to 9 word billboard of hope. If your audience is not enticed by your subject line, again, it'll hit the trash bin. Great subject lines use three things to entice recipients: value, curiosity, and urgency. A subject line that promises value would include something like better results half the time. A subject line that leverages curiosity might be something like a costly mistake you're overlooking. For a sense of urgency, a good subject line example would be critical third quarter shift you must make today. And remember, forget the clickbait. Nobody trusts a subject line like one weird trick anymore. Next, let's go deeper than just dropping in someone's first name and calling it personalization. Because let's face it, everybody knows it's automated. Hey, Ernie, we thought you'd love this. No, you didn't. And you don't know me. So that's why segmentation matters. Are you speaking to new prospects, long term customers, or those stuck in decision making purgatory? Tailor your message, segment by behavior, interest, location, purchase history, whatever makes your communication feel more intentional and less like a digital billboard on a highway that nobody drives down. And now for the part that most marketers skip but shouldn't, and that is nurturing. Think of your email list like a garden. You don't just toss around some seed and demand that fruit be there the next morning. No, what you do is you water, prune, and check the forecast. Similarly, build trust and consistency with your audience. Don't just show up and you've got something to sell. Send educational tips, curated insights, or even behind the scenes peeks. Regularly offer value without asking for anything in return, kind of like a friend who helps you move without asking for anything in return. Now, let's look at layout and formatting. Mobile is king. If your email looks like a wall of text, people are going to delete it. Keep it skimmable. Use short paragraphs. Bold important info. Use bullet points sparingly, but definitely use them. And above all, make your call to action easy to find. If the call to action is buried somewhere in the content, your performance will suffer. Now, what time should you send your email? The experts suggest that Tuesday through Thursday, either mid morning or between 4 and 6 p.m. in the afternoon is best. But really, this depends on your company, the industry you're in, what you're sharing, and other factors. If you have last minute details available during the weekend, sending an email on Friday, sense of urgency, is better than Thursday, not as much of a sense of urgency. The next thing to consider is A/B testing. This is your lab. You're running experiments. No goggles required, though. Subject lines, send times, layout, call to action buttons, personalization tactics, test them all. You'll be surprised what works and what doesn't. Sometimes the simpler subject line outperforms the clever one. It's less about guessing and more about learning. If your email marketing strategy doesn't involve some level of experimentation, you're leaving insights and money on the table. Finally, let's talk about the long game, revenue. A well cared for list is a living, breathing revenue engine. It can support sales cycles, warm up cold leads, nurture cross sells, and even drive advocacy. But only if you're intentional. If you treat it like a vending machine, punch in a promo, expect instant dollars, it won't help you long term. The critical thing here is to build your list the right way. Give people something worth opening and treat your engagements like a relationship, not a transaction. If you wouldn't say it in a real life conversation with a customer, don't say it in an email. Well, that's it for this episode of Conversations from the Lab. If you found this information helpful, like and subscribe. That helps me to create more content like this. And remember, people don't hate email, they hate bad email. Thanks again for joining us, and we'll see you next time.